Hey friends, we are looking at the Lumibricks spa cabin, set number L9096, 2,235 pieces. And this is a Icelandic-inspired vacation house that is meant for rest, relaxation, recreation. And in this video, we're going to do a 360 turnaround. Then we'll look at the interior. Then we'll look at the alternate configuration, and then we'll look at the characters that are included. We'll take a look at the lighting kit too and some of the special features that you're going to find on this set. But starting with the turnaround, the front of this is a kind of a two-roofed house, right? With the one door here, it's got a door in the rear. And up in front, we've got this rock pathway, a wood deck, and then a natural hot spring right here with a ladder. And then we've also got an external sauna, and we'll get a closer look at the sauna and how they've done some really cool things with the windows. And then turning it around, you'll see this is there's a little bit of a, what do you call it? A thermostat or temperature readout there. And thermometer, that's the word I'm looking for. And you can see they're having some fun because there's some glasses there, but we'll take a closer look and zoom in on all of this. It has a thatched roof, so you see that there is snow that has fallen on this thatched roof, and some of the snow is still falling off onto the ground. And you can see that we still see a little bit of snow on the walls as well. Then turning around, going to the back, you can see that they've got a small ice hockey rink in the back. So there's a couple of hockey pucks, and so we'll take a look at that. And there's a snowman with a shovel and another door with steps leading up to it to get to the inside, and then windows along the top. On this side, it's the chimney side. We'll take a look at the chimney, which is actually lit. And this is where they think it's a AAA battery box. 3 AAAs can go in here, and we'll take a look at the wiring and for the kit as well. All right, so let's take a closer look. Let's zoom in. Starting with the sauna, I wanted to show you that the light actually pulses. So if you see inside, there is a light on the roof pointed down, and it pulses in there, which is kind of nice. And they have a couple of lights that do pulsing like that. The other one is here in the hot spring. So right there, there's one light here, and then there's a light strip with an adhesive backing that sticks to a surface here and then projects the light out into this area. That's a really good solution. It's actually better than if they had tried to put lights underneath the surface. This is a more convincing lighting scenario, so it's pretty good. So I love what they did here on the sauna. If you look at each window. Every window looks as though it has that like condensation that you get in something's hot on the inside. So this is a coal fueled sauna, and you can see that somebody's scribbled on it, and they've done it in reverse so that you can read it from the outside. And the effect is really good. Let's zoom in a little bit. As far as the color and how it's a matte finish for whatever they did to print that, it really does look like condensation that has been wiped off, especially that bottom section. It's just amazing. It totally looks like a hand is just sort of messily wiped at it just to see what would happen. And then over here, not only do you see condensation, but you have a little bit of extra drips that are coming from the top section where it might be melting a little bit. So that I really appreciate that. And let's actually open it up. So this entire sauna section is meant to be removed. So there I've removed it. You saw the lights shut off, and it has a coupling brick right there that powers this one here. So now we can open it up. So it's got a kind of a smokestack on top, some ice and snow. Here's another look at one of the panels and somebody drawing on it. So if you wanted to, you could swap these two around if you like to. Has a door, of course, so opening that, you can go on in the inside. It uses these really light, almost like nougat light, flesh tone nougat pieces on the bottom for you to step on. And then here's a look at the inside. You can see the stove, a stack, and let me see if we can get a better image. A little bit hard to tell in there, but there is there's a suggestion of fire in there. And oh, I was incorrect. The light comes out of the side right here in this 1x1 stud. It doesn't come out of the roof. And then here's a look at the roof. It's just a bare roof. So we can close that back up, and you'll see there's a barrel, and this whole section is open, and it's very easy to just snap it back in place. So we'll just do that carefully. All right, there we go. So it's lit up again. So now let's look at the hot spring. So it has this, like these little tiny like gun pieces that and a robot arm that help make up a ladder, a metal ladder that goes down into here. And there's areas and studs open so that you could take half a figure and place them in there as though they're bathing. So here's one guy, and I just pulled his legs off. They're supposed to be hanging out in there like that, so we'll just leave them like that. And but that's the effect, is like, oh, okay, he's totally soaking, and you can just achieve that by pulling his bottom half off. And then, like I mentioned, they're enjoying some beverages, and then you can tell the temperature here. Let's see what it says. We'll zoom in here a little bit. Oh, it says 37 degrees Celsius. Okay. And then so that I'm not super familiar with Celsius, but that does seem hot. All right, and then you see the rock work. The deck I like a lot. It does have, like all Lumibricks sets, everything here you see is printed, and they do have some wood grain printed on the wood deck, and steps that come up to it, and a little bit of rock work at the bottom there, and then just kind of snowy mounds that are in here. As far as the building structure itself, I do like the way it was built up. It's a lot of snot brick right in the front, and these tiles look like perfect painted vertical like siding or vertical planks, and you can kind of imagine that the construction is a mix of maybe concrete and brick together with wood siding. So they've got these ingots here, and you can see some, I really like this bay window that they've got, and it gives you a peek into the kitchen, and all of these plants that they've intentionally put in the in that window. So pretty nice. It looks really inviting. And then coming around the side, you can see one of the windows. Oh, I forgot to mention the lighting. So the light along the roof line is actually a light strip that originates here in this area down here, and then it snakes up in like an M shape across both of the roof lines. And it's meant to sort of mimic what you might do with holiday string lights that you would put on your own roof. And my instructions actually had a correction sheet telling you to string it slightly differently than the original book told you to do it. So originally you're supposed to string them so that the light string goes inside of these modified 1x1s. You're supposed to string it through that hole, but they tell you not to do that. They tell you kind of tuck it above it. So that's what I've done. I do like this roof. Really nicely done thatched roof with these snowy piles on top, and then you can kind of see some have broken off and are piling up at the bottom. It is a little bit finicky as far as putting the roof on. Very easy to detach it from the mounting mechanism. There's just an upside down like Technic piece that holds it in place. In the vineyard estate, they had a much more robust system for keeping things attached. So I wish they had done that or used that, but it's a little bit finicky. All right, and then on the back here, here's a closer look. There's actually comes with 3 hockey sticks, and here's one of the guys that it comes with. And we'll take a closer look at the figures, but he's holding a dark green hockey stick, one of the ones that it comes with. And so he can, it's a tiny little practice court, I guess you could say, a practice rink for him. But I guess it's enough for them to keep score what's going on and have a game and play. And then over here, there's a tiny sign that says Turf House. There's a small snowman statue, snowman build. And there is a shovel that is clipped in there. And the back here has a door, so you could use this to gain entry to the inside as well. Here we're getting a peek into the living area. And then lastly is the chimney. And you can see a little bit of light bleeding through where the fireplace is. And it just is built straight up. And they've done some things to make it look like, you know, there's been some repairs to the stonework over time. And then the top of the chimney has this really kind of elegant bit of smoke coming from it. And then over here on the side, this is where the battery box is, and just to turn everything on and off, you just hit this little switch and it goes on or off. And it's held in just with a couple studs, so I can pull it off like this. That's what's held in. These are pieces I think I've only seen with like Lumibricks. They're basically turn any stud into an anti-stud. So it's like that on both sides. And underneath it, you'll see the lighting hub. So what this does is you clip all of the wiring lines. They all kind of come and terminate here, and then your battery box connects to it, and then that's the way that you can power everything. The kit also comes with an alternative way to power it, which is with USB. So you can pull the one that's coming from the battery box, pull that out, and then insert this instead, then plug this into your USB power, and then that would be a way to power it indefinitely. So that's an alternative for you. And then let's see if we can press this back into place. Give it some pressure on the other side. There we go. And yeah, there you go. So I think that is a 360 look. And let's open it up and look inside, and then we'll keep going. All right, so I've got it separated open. The way that you open it is you just pull the entire back half off. So that's essentially what I've done. This is the back that we saw. You pull it straight off, and it is held in with 2 pins, these 2 white pins, as well as clips in this area right here and right here. And once you do that, the entire back comes off. And so we'll look at the interiors for both of those. And notice only the front half is lit. There is no power transfer to the back half. So first thing point out is, like, you know, if you were to come in the front door, you'll see this really nice plant that's in this foyer. And it includes these decorative circle discs here, and I'm not sure what they are. They might be records, like music records, and to the sides, on each side, is what looks like microphones, but I don't know, maybe these are something else in Icelandic tradition that I'm missing. So I'm not 100% sure what those are, and what it's sitting on appears to be just like like some sort of a storage hutch or something like that, or a cadenza, something. And what else we got in there? Got some artwork on the wall there, and it looks like it's a picture of this exact cabin that we're looking at. So they're celebrating that they own it. And then the light is coming from that sconce there. Lighting, of course, with the Lumibricks, they always think through the lighting so that it looks realistic and it looks like a nice place to spend time. So because of that, you don't see you don't see the light or just kind of hanging in your face, and you don't see a lot of the wiring is usually tucked away pretty nicely. And I've mentioned before, they use specialized bricks so that the wiring can run up the walls, inside the walls, and be hidden a little bit better than you might expect. All right, and then right off the foyer is stairs. So that's what we're seeing there. There are stairs that go up, and underneath those stairs is a tiny toilet build. So I've seen different toilets built out before, and this one, not quite my favorite. It's a little bit finicky, and it keeps coming loose. That back tank area kind of doesn't quite sit right with the rest of it, but just at a glance, it does look like looks like a toilet, so I do think it's effective. And then once you go up those stairs, which end here, they do continue on to this section of the structure. So that's how you would exit the stairs, so that you can come around to this area, which is a bed. So there's a nice little build for a bed there with kind of a quilted pattern. And they have a view over the balcony, which is pretty cool. And they have their own light in there too. So that's really nice. And then you can also head into the living room. So I like this print that they put on the back of that sofa. The color of the sofa, I don't think I would have picked that color for the sofa, but it is a bright, happy color. They've also got this case here, and there is let's tilt this up a little bit. There is a silver fish inside that case. And I'm not really sure if that is supposed to be an aquarium. I guess so. So I guess that's they have a pet fish, I guess. And then that's the all of the flowers that we saw from the front. I thought that this led into or showed the kitchen. I was incorrect. The kitchen is on the other side, along this other wall here. You got a coffee table, a little candle, flower, and then this says Lumibricks Travel. So maybe these are magazines that are on the top. And then over in the corner, tucked away, is a phonograph machine. Let me just tilt that a little bit. So you can see a couple records. Maybe those are, there's one record on it. And actually, these are not records. They might just be family portraits. This is a strange family portrait. Not sure what's happening there. Maybe it's supposed to be cute. She's just being cute. And then the family portrait with the four of them on the other wall. But yeah, definitely this is some sort of a phonograph player, an old-timey one. And then looking at the fireplace, the glow here and the red is really convincing, really well done. You can see that there's a front of it, and there's just enough kind of interest and contrast to make it look like there are burning coals in there. You know, there's no symmetry that your eye can land on. Instead, it does look like it could be burning coal. And if you watch, of course, it's pulsing. So that it does have some pulsing light bricks. And I was trying to figure out how that's controlled. And the best I can see is it must be inside the light brick itself. It has a controller that tells it to pulse versus to be a steady on and off. So pretty cool. I'm glad Lumibricks did that and they thought of that. Looking up, you see some decorative pieces. I don't know if these are maybe rugs or decorative tapestries. I'm not that familiar with Icelandic culture, but these do look beautiful. I'm glad that they included them. And there is a chandelier as well that's made out of a brown floral piece, and that just sends all the light straight down into it. And you can kind of see where they've hidden the wiring. So there's one wire there. They do pretty good of just tucking them out of the way so that you know they're not in your face. Here's a look at those upside down Technic pieces that I mentioned. This is a 2-stud piece, or sorry, 4 studs, but it very easily breaks off. And then there's 2 studs on the other side, 4 over here. And, you know, they probably thought it was enough, but I found myself accidentally, at least those 2 would always come off as I was manipulating or moving things around. So you just got to be careful with that roof. I think it could have been built slightly more durable, but it's not like you're moving the roof around a lot very much. All right, so let's look at the other half too. I'll push that out of the way, get this guy into the light. So let me turn up the light slightly and get a better look at it. So now this is what you'd see if you walked straight in. The front door is around here, and you walk straight in. There's what you see is the bathroom. So they're taking some liberties. Like there's probably other doors and things that you would pass through, but this is a bathroom. It has this kind of chrome piece for the mirror and has a faucet for the sink. The sink is nice. It actually has room for your feet to be, which is in a drawer. But this is a really shiny chrome piece. I was kind of impressed, and I had to even wipe it off before I put it on the wall because I didn't want my fingerprints to show up on it. There's like a towel hanging on the side there. And I think above it is this might be a vent. I'm not sure what that is supposed to be. And then I didn't know this, but it has a door. So it has this door that opens up and leads into a shower area. So here's the shower head. There's some wallpaper. There's some shower products along the wall. And I think these might be the faucet to like turn the power or the control your shower. And there's a floor drain, which is pretty nice. And so all of that is kind of exposed to like when you first open the front door, but I think you just need to pretend that there's a wall or a door that you pass through. And then here is a look at the upper area. So if you were to go up the stairs, this is what would greet you. And Lumibricks describes this as a knitting room. So you can think of the colored spools here as yarn, maybe some examples of what they've made, and something that they're currently working on here, some scissors, and this over here is it's almost like a tape measure, so it has units drawn out along the side with lines. And then maybe this is like a rug or something else. So it looks like a nice place to spend time. This is another look at how fragile some of the roof pieces are, right? So that's just two studs to hold it in. And, as long as you're not handling it too much, that's probably fine. Oh, and a basket in the corner. So going over to the other room, it is the kitchen area. So it has a suggestion of a fridge. This might be some sort of like a to-do list. Let's zoom in. Let's see if we can read what's on that fridge. So it actually says menu. That's interesting. So maybe somebody is preparing a meal, wants them to all know what they're preparing. There's some art of maybe an Arctic fox there. There's a hood range / vent for the hood, and a hood for the range is what that is. And then you've got a range with 2 pots on it. You've got an oven. That's a cool little oven build. All of this looks kind of high end, and you can kind of read what it is. And it's realistically off the ground, just like ours, because you have to be able to clean underneath, and you don't want to trap the heat there either. The sink is black, so the inside of that sink is all black, and it looks like this is the faucet for it, and then a drawer. So pretty nice, nicely done. And then from here you can just boop, exit out, go out the back. All right, so that's the look at this back half of it. All right, and then let's assemble it with one of the ways that they sort of suggest that you can display them. So let's do that next. This is one way that Lumibricks suggests displaying the set. So once you pull those 2 parts apart, there is a stud here that connects to an anti-stud on that wall. And so you've got this display of the interior with all these nice details, and you can look at it that way. Or alternatively, turn the whole thing around, and if you have limited shelf space, you show the other side. So let's turn that around. Let me do that carefully. There we go. And so you could look at this side as well, and now you've got almost looks like 2 different homes that you've got on your shelf that you can display And if that's what you want to do to show off this cool look and this cool like vacation home that definitely has an Icelandic feel to it. It feels unique. It doesn't look like something that you would find in the U.S., which I think is terrific. I do love that it has that flair to it. I feel like with Lumibricks, they're typically making sets that feel like they've done a deep dive into the subject matter, and then as you're building, as you're playing with it, you feel like you're discovering some elements of that culture. So I appreciate that they do that, and the amount of detail or the amount of insight or investigation that they put into it. I think it shows through. All right, now let's take a look at the mini characters. Here's a look at the 4 characters that the set comes with. Lumibricks does not name them. Sometimes with the sets they do give them names, but these do not have names. My wife looked at them and thought they were creepy, and maybe because they're half naked. I don't know why she thought so, but I don't think they're creepy. I think they just take a little getting used to. I do prefer these characters to the ones that Fantasy makes, which are a little bit more deformed. They have the really large heads. These feel a little bit more proportional. But starting on this end, you've got the folks that are enjoying the hot spring and the sauna. I think this guy is enjoying the sauna. If you look at him, he's got drips of sweat coming down his body, and you've got sweat coming off his brow, and you can see his cheeks, or maybe it's his eyes are a little bit red. So maybe he's been there a little bit too long, and the look on his face almost looks like a grimace or something. He doesn't look like he's at peace. So it's a little bit strange. The woman next to him is in a 2-piece, and the printing on her swimwear is pretty good, and it looks like are her legs like dual printed, or is that just, I think that may be a paint application for the green, and then yeah, that's probably how they did it. They painted the green part, and it's pretty close match to the green part that they use for the center of the hips. And then for his legs, what they did was they molded it in white, and then they painted his legs in, but they're not a match to the rest of his body, and that's kind of a miss. So it would have been good. I like his hairpiece. It looks pretty realistic. And then we've got this woman who has glasses, and I like her hair, and she's got kind of a really cozy sweater on and jeans. And so you can see the lines on her jeans. You can see the pockets, and it's kind of a foresty style pattern on that. So she might be the one that is enjoying the knitting upstairs. And then lastly, we've got this guy who is outside with his hockey stick enjoying that rink outside. So he's got gloves on, he's got a little bit heavier of a jacket on, and he's got this helmet too with goggles. Let's take this off so you can see his face. His face is my favorite face, actually. It feels the least creepy, and so he's got rosy cheeks, his eyes, he's actually smiling, and I think what potentially makes the characters feel a little bit weird is how their heads are shaped. So they're a little bit fatter and wider kind of at the bottom, and so that's maybe why, and it's all the way around their heads is like that, and so maybe that's part of what makes them feel a little bit strange, is the design there. But anyway, this guy here, he's my favorite. All right, so that's a look at the characters, and that's a look at the entire spa cabin. I hope that this was useful to you if you're considering purchasing this. This is hopefully something that will inform you so you feel like you know what you're getting into. It is a really, really cool set. This is one that there's been a couple of Lumibricks sets that I feel like are going to be future classics. One is the Vineyard Estate, and the other I think is this one. This one I think has the potential of being one that will go up in value. People are going to want to get it even after it's been retired. All right, if you like this video, please hit like. If you could subscribe, that would mean a lot to me too. Thank you very much.